This Quaker State 400 available at Walmart. DFS Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Cody, I knew that it would only be a matter of time before that prayer came back in vogue, right? We talked about it before. We were like, yeah, but he says Dodges. And now we know, of course, that Dodge is coming back to the Truck Series. So we are forward thinkers, Cody.
I would like to think we're a part of the reason the Dodge is coming back because we put that clip into our show entrance, and then magically, after years and years of them saying, "Oh, somebody's going to come soon, boom, deal with Dodge gets done. Rather, the deal with Ram gets done. I mean, maybe we should go in and dub over the word Ram over Dodge. I don't know, but here we are.
Here we are, of course. Yes. Well, speaking of the trucks, we were going to have a truck episode today. We were going to have an Xfinity episode today. But as things happen now more than we like them to, the odds are just barely coming out at 2:00. I swear. I mean, we talk about us being the reason that Ram or Dodge is coming back. Cody, we're the reason the books don't put the odds out in the afternoon anymore. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we talked about 2 hours ago and it was like, okay, we don't have any. We like to have a little bit of time to prepare too, right? And so they've just dropped within the last 30 minutes here, which is just not enough time for us to we've done some of the research and we sort of know what we want, but you got to look through the numbers, you got to dig through all the bets and stuff. So it's like hard to do a show right now. So we'll be back tomorrow with the trucks and Xfinity for sure, since the odds are now out. But luckily, we do have at least DFS prices. Unfortunately, no Underdog has yet to post, Rod, so they're a little bit behind. But get DFS prices, so we can talk a little bit of DFS today, EchoPark Speedway style.
Oh yeah, EchoPark Speedway, the track formerly known as the Atlanta Motor Speedway, now the EchoPark Speedway. Again, a super speedway-esque type race. We'll break it all down for you in just a second. But yeah, I mean, just like Cody said, it's going to be DFS today. We'll give you the high price, mid price, and low price driver. Easy breezy, probably a nice and shortened episode since all we have is that. And obviously we'll give you underdog picks as we get them. Check the YouTube, check the socials, and keep up on all of that. So we will do exactly all of that. But listen, I want to tell you real quick, we are running a in-season bracket challenge, the in-season challenge bracket, and it's very simple for you folks out there, right? If you've got an episode out already, so you can go listen to the episode and then start filling out that bracket. You take a screenshot of it, take a picture of it. You could put a whiteboard on there somewhere. However you want to make the picks visible to us, do so. And then head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest. By the way, don't look at what pay no attention to the link on the screen. It is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest. If you win, you'll get a $200 SGPN gift card. Second place gets a $100 SGPN gift card. Third place gets a $50 SGPN gift card. Again, we went over all of our favorite picks for this and at least for the first round. And you can follow along with us as we go through the rest of it. But make sure you get yours in soon because this Atlanta race is the first race of the bracket. So if you miss out on Friday or I guess Sunday, right? We'll give you till Sunday.
Saturday race.
Saturday.
Saturday evening race. I think we have it set to close just about the time the green flag drops. So get them in before then. And yes, do not do it late Saturday night. Don't do it Sunday morning because you'll have missed everything by then. And that's also a good reminder. DFS lineups, get them in early, right? Because Saturday night is when the show is happening, Rod. You don't want to miss that.
You certainly don't want to miss that. Yeah, it's definitely something that if you're not paying attention, it'll sneak up on you and you'll come on Sunday morning and go, oh, man, I'm ready to watch the race. It's over.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have, I think qualifying is on Friday as well as I try to quickly pull it up. It is on Friday, yes. So lineups will be set Friday evening. So you'll have, Friday night and all day Saturday to put in your official lineups once you know where everybody starts, of course. And practice isn't going to matter. Starting spots will matter in the starting spots will matter. I don't even know what I was trying to say, Rod. They'll matter in the again, I don't even know where I was going. They will matter because they'll matter in DFS because of place differential and finishing positions and all that, but doesn't matter for that guy starting at the back can't play him because that's probably even more of a reason to play him this week.
Especially in DFS, yeah. So pay attention to obviously the qualifying efforts because those will determine the starting spots. But as we always do and have always done, regardless of the track style, we'll give you who we think are going to be good plays no matter where they start on the grid. And especially for some of these higher price guys, if they start farther back in the grid, then all the better because then you'll actually be able to benefit more from place differential because laps led, and that's fine. You'll get a bunch of them. But here, in fact, if you go back and listen to the betting episode yesterday, you'll learn that we don't think that somebody's going to just drive away with this race. So there may be 3, 4, 5 people that have somewhere in between 30 and 40 laps led in this race. And so identifying at least one of those is going to be something that you need to do this week. So, and of course, we always help you do that with our high price, mid price, and low price drivers. Cody, no real gigantic news that has broke over the last couple of days. So I feel like we can jump right into our picks. Yeah,
I think so. There is one thing to talk about, Rod. NASCAR has added tests for a new ECU, electrical control unit, for 2026. ECU is a McLaren product, so they're the ones who produce it. And of course, we know they use these in F1. They use these in Indy cars. Each organization gets one car for a one-day test at the Charlotte Road Course, October 20th, and one car for a one-day test at the Charlotte Oval, November 17th. Bob Pockrass notes nothing to do with increased horsepower. So yeah, that's a little ECU potential stuff. At least they're going to test it and see what that might do to these cars, I suppose.
Ooh, that's going to be quite interesting to see. A little push to pass, maybe a little DRS if they can open up a flap back there. I don't know. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, how this applies in NASCAR and how it'll be used, TBD, right? And I'm sure that part of the tests and the reason for the test will be, well, what can we do with this and how could we use this to potentially, make you able to pass a Pocono maybe, Rod? Who knows? Could be something that's in the works there.
See, and there you go, too. That's exactly the kind of thing that people would be interested in doing because obviously if you make all the cars equal, and then, of course, we'll have this over the offseason. We make all the cars equal, it's hard to pass. Well, then you got to give somebody an edge, right? And that push to pass is always there. And it's always something that people are learning, especially in IndyCar, how to judiciously use, when to use it, and all that other good stuff. So, that's going to be fun. I will enjoy watching what comes out of that. And if there is a push to pass option, again, I will claim credit because we've been asking for this for a little while now, but no push to pass in Atlanta. 260 laps around this 1.540 mile paved track for 400 miles around the EchoPark Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Cody, this is, like I said, it's not important to identify the most laps led, but somebody we think is going to lead some laps. So especially in the high price driver range. So who, Cody, are we starting out in the high price driver world?
Well, Rod, our friend D2 checking in says Cindric for the win, 9-1. I don't know if I'm on with the Cindric win, but I am on for Cindric and DFS. 10,200. He's the fourth highest priced driver this week, but really good at super speedways, really good at Atlanta. We've talked about how Penske has done extremely well here, especially leading a lot of laps and running up front. And that's what Austin Cindric has done here. Back in the spring, starts in second place. He led 47 laps up front all throughout the day. Ends up with a 28th place finish. So, he did get caught up in a wreck at the end of the thing. And you would like a better finish than that, of course. But the fact that he can get out front, lead those laps, you like that. And it's not a fluke, because in the September race when they were here, starts in 5th, finishes in 10th at the end of the day. Not a bad day in and of itself, but he led 92 laps in the process. You said it. There's only, how many laps are in this?
160.
Yeah, 160. So there's not that many laps led to go around. When one guy's taking 92, that's pretty damn good, right? You like to see stuff like that. And then last spring here, starts in 8th, finishes 4th, 32 laps led. And even the July of 23 race, he led 10 laps there. He's actually led laps in in the last 6, I guess, of the 7 races here at Atlanta that he's run in this configuration, of course, since 2022. So led 5 laps in March of 23, also led 7 laps in July of 2022. So led laps every single time, led quite a few laps here lately. We've seen how good Penske works together, finds their way to the front. Of course, the Penske guys are all going to be popular picks. We're going to talk about another guy here in a second. So like you would do anywhere, and like you should do on a super speedway in particular, got to get different in some of those lineups, right? But Austin Cindric seems to be a pretty solid guy, especially at the drafting tracks, especially at Atlanta.
Well, yeah, and when we talk about the Penske guys rolling together, that's something that you should note in your DFS lineups anyways, in that you should probably group some manufacturers, group some teammates, group some folks, because you know that drafting partners usually come from within the same manufacturer. They more often than not come from the same team. So if you are on one specific driver, whether that's the manufacturer or the team, then you should probably be on a couple of them, if not all of them, in a lineup. Now, of course, that runs the risk of having all of them bow out and then you're done, but that's super speedway racing in a nutshell anyways, right? So, yeah, I definitely love this. Cindric seems to be a favorite in the group right now, so everybody is in love with Austin Cindric. I'm in love with his teammate. Okay, I love his teammate for DFS purposes, and that is Ryan Blaney.
I thought you were about to start talking about Carson Hocevar as much as you were talking about being in love with somebody, Rod.
Listen, I have yet to proclaim my outright love for Carson Hocevar yet. Remember, it's a stick for the show that I don't like him. So, but for Ryan Blaney, listen, you got to go all the way back to 2022 in the spring to find a finish that was not a top 10 finish for him. So Ryan Blaney has had 6 straight finishes of a top 10 or better. And in fact, in most instances, those have all been top 5 finishes. In fact, 5 of the 7 of those have been the top 5 variety, a top 5 in the fall of 2019 or 2022, rather, a second place in 2024, a third place in 2024, and a 4th place in the spring. I mean, there's a consistency, right? I mean, we talk about guys that know how to get around and know how to do the things they need to do to finish well on any sort of track. And that's equally as hard, or that's actually more hard on a drafting track, on a super speedway, on whatever you want to call it. And for Ryan Blaney to be able to turn in that many top 10 finishes, that's impressive, right? He started on the pole actually here in the spring as well, has led laps in all those races. In fact, going back to the spring of 2022, 15 in the first one, 2, 5, 20, 31, 33. I misspoke earlier. I'm sorry. There's 260, not 160. But even still, as we talked about in yesterday's episode, when we talked about laps led, there haven't been very many that have gone over 50. I mean, there's been a couple. One guy hit 92 and the other hit 114, right? Logano was one of those, and I think Cindric was the other that led that many laps. And so, for Ryan Blaney to be able to lead the 30, the 34, I mean, it's $11,000 for him. He's the highest price guy. Everybody's going to say, well, Rod, it doesn't take a genius to suggest the highest price guy. I get that. It doesn't. But also there's a lot of people that are like, oh, he's $11,000. I probably shouldn't play him because everybody's going to have him. Well, that's why you should put him in, because probably not everybody's going to have him, because at $11,000, he's very pricey. But he's going to be worth it in the end, because he's going to get you a top 10 finish, and he's going to be able to get you some decent points. How many, you ask? Well, in 2020, in the spring race, he got you 39.95, but that's only because he started on the pole and, lost you some spots and really only led a couple of laps. But in the fall of 2024 rather, he got you 50.95 points. So that's, and then of course, in the spring of 2024, he ended up getting you 55.1, which was the third highest of the slate. So Ryan Blaney's got a very, very nice upside to him. And I think a lot of people are going to be scared off by his price, but you don't. Pay $11,000 for Ryan Blaney and be happy.
Yeah, I think that Blaney probably will be fairly popular. So make sure you get away from him a little bit in some of your lineups, but he's been really, really good here, obviously, as you just highlighted. So he is going to be a guy you're going to want to include in some of your stuff for sure. The Experts Suck checking in with the Ryan Blaney love. We know that Experts Suck loves them. Catch up on the chat, Rod. We got a little extra time today. Rebel Soul saying Ross Chastain will pass Christopher Bell on the last lap in turn 4 to win, and says, sorry, Marcus. And Matt Jones pointing out that FanDuel has got Cindric at 10-1. If you're interested in that kind of thing, Penske's going to win, says D2. Having 3 guys in the playoffs would be money. Actually, they're already all in the playoffs because they've already all won. All 4 Penske cars, actually, because Josh Berry also in there. So, not technically locked in at this point in time, Rod, but they'll likely all be in there. The Experts Suck with a great question, too. How much does qualifying change your strategy? It varies place to place, right? And things change and differ. But in a general sense, at super speedways and drafting tracks, quote unquote, right? It all varies and depends based on what type of build you're looking for, right? And I think that's a different thing on super speedways than other places, because is this like the spring race where it's not very chaotic? Guys like Cindric that start second and can lead 92 laps, that's a great play, right? But also starting a guy that can start second and finish 28th like Austin Cindric did in the spring gets a little scary, right? And in last week at Pocono, you're probably going to want to start one of the top 4 guys in your lineup, right? Because somebody's going to jump out and lead a lot early. Whereas on the drafting tracks, that's not so much the case. You can go without playing anybody from the top 10, top 15. You can stack the back. You can, so it's all about what you want a particular type of lineup to look like, right? So if you want to build a lineup where we don't really get any wrecks, it's kind of a smooth race, you have a mixture, right? You got some of the guys from up front, maybe a couple of them. Maybe you play the Blaney Cindric stack and they share the lead throughout the day, get a bunch of fast laps, and then you find somebody that starts farther back that gets place differential. Or maybe you think it's going to be a crazy chaotic race because people are starting to get desperate. They know that they need to get some wins. You play only guys that start back in the 30s. It can vary a lot depending on how you want to do it. So it's all about the specific build you're looking for and contest to contest, right? That those types of things matter. Or if you're chasing a big prize, try to get different from what other people are going to do, right? And if you're in more of a cash game like our game, maybe you go with something a little bit safer, something you feel like will get you to the end just to beat a small group of people. That's kind of where it all varies. And one thing I will say as well, on the drafting tracks, do not be afraid to leave that money out there. Leave it on the table. I believe at Talladega, my main lineup I played left like $8,000 on the table and ended up being a pretty solid lineup. It's not uncommon in drafting tracks to not spend anywhere close to the salary you have, just because it does, race so much differently from how you would play a Pocono last week, or Chicago, or a Mexico 2 weeks ago, Chicago next week, a Michigan 3 weeks ago. It's super speedway drafting tracks are definitely a different style, Rob.
They most certainly are. And of course, play as you're comfortable, because that is ultimately what it's all comes down to.
Responsibility.
Responsibility,
key.
as the kids on the Rugrats would say. All right, we'll be back with our mid-tier drivers, but I want to take this opportunity to tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, and there's easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. You know how I know that this show moves lines? Because you guys do it. I gave you guys the Ottawa Red Blacks to beat the Toronto Argonauts, and they were 2.5-point favorites yesterday when I started giving out the line. Well, guess what? The Red Blacks are now 3-point favorites to win against the Toronto Argonauts. -110 still, so you guys moved the line, but the books are still giving you the same odds. So hammer down on the Ottawa Red Blacks -3 over the Toronto Argonauts. Thank yourself later. Head to mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. Fantasy football season underway. Drafts are happening as we speak, but your draft has not happened yet, because guess what? You're waiting to win the Circa Resort contest. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like a VIP for your entire stay. What are you going to get? You get a limo ride from the airport. You'll get a $5,000 tab for stadium swim and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. Plus, you can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. It's the last chance. Hurry up to enter the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Circa. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/CIRCA. Yeah, and so, last thing about the Super Speedway and having the positioning and qualifying matter. Really, again, as we start talking through these drivers and we're telling you how good we think they are, obviously we don't know where they're going to start yet. So we're anticipating them maybe to have especially in a case of Ryan Blaney, to start near the front like he did in the spring, right? Obviously in the pole or in the top 10, and then finish there, right? But for some of these guys, we want them to start in the back because we know that they finish well and that the place differential will get you where you need to go with it. So yeah, again, just pay attention to qualifying.
Honestly, I get a little bit excited when there's guys I have my eye on that start farther back. Now, like if an Austin Cindric or Ryan Blaney starts 38th, 39th, 40th, every single person is going to play them because there's no risk. I mean, sure, if he wrecks out, he doesn't get you a lot of points and maybe doesn't end up being optimal, but he's not going to lose you any points starting that far back. So those types of drivers, that's I guess a good note to expand on too, is those types of drivers are going to be in everybody's lineup. So a cash game lineup, like our $5 contest, you're going to want to have those guys, right? Because everybody else is going to have them. You're playing defense. It's probably not going to hurt you too bad if they don't score anything, but they're likely going to score some stuff, and it's going to hurt you if they do. The bigger games, right, the roster percentage is going to be really high. That's where you have to balance, play them, because if they hit, and everybody's got them, but also not playing them. If they don't hit, they get caught up in a wreck early, or whatever the case may be, then maybe somebody else is optimal. So it's, again, and that's every week, but even more so here where literally everybody is in play and on the board almost no matter what, right? Even a guy like David Starr could make a massive difference this week, despite being in such a slow and bad car. So it's all about what contest you're in and what type of build you're looking for sure. We do have some breaking news, Rod. Bob Pockrass, yes, just tweeted. NASCAR has penalized the Hendrick Motorsports number 17 team in Xfinity after Pocono for the main frame rail. I don't know what that word is. Conceal receiver violation. I don't know. We're going to go with it. Crew chief Adam Wall has been suspended for 3 races. Where will Hendrick ever find another crew chief? Maybe Dale Jr. is free. Who knows? The team's been docked 40 owner points. They're not racing full-time anyways. Doesn't matter. 10 playoff points. Not racing full-time. Doesn't matter. And $40K. Hopefully Rick Hendrick is able to keep the doors open over there at Hendrick. But yeah, there you go. I guess that's That's what it is.
At this point, I'm willing to bet that Rick Hendrick has $40,000 stuffed in his couch cushion that that accidentally falls out of his pocket when he sits down. Like we go digging for ice cream money in the couches. He's
he's digging for penalty money.
Oh, look, $40,000.
$40,000. There you go.
Guess we'll just pay my fine.
Oh, that's funny. All right, let's keep catching up on the chat, Rod. Impulse says I draft from my wife. All the drafting talk. And D2 agreeing with you that it's never a bad pick going with Blaney. Rebel Soul saying Logano win wouldn't surprise him at all either. Logano has been really good here. D2 saying 20 drivers could win this race. Best bets, maybe top 5. We did go over our best bets yesterday, Rod. Make sure you go back and check that episode. Impulse, building for chaos, predicts a 15-car wreck coming. Boy, or 15 wrecks, the expert suck says, one or the other. You never know. Patrick checking in. Nice to see you, Patrick. Welcome to the show. Tyler Reddick needs one. That is understatement of the year. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to Phil over on Full Tank with Phil yet, Rod, but he was at Pocono last week. Really just wanted a Tyler Reddick, and he told the story much better than I'm about to, but I'll summarize it. Wanted a Tyler Reddick beer koozie. He likes the beer koozies, right? Got a bunch of them, but Tyler Reddick was like the main one he sought out, so he waited in line forever at the trailer, got the Tyler Reddick one. He said he was drinking it in the stands, went to throw out his beer, and threw the koozie out on accident. Oh. He reached in there. Luckily, it was fine, right? Took it. Then he was drinking a beer as he was leaving, and he again threw the koozie of the trash. So he wasn't sure if that was a sign from the racing gods or the gambling gods that maybe Tyler Reddick can't have anything this year. But I thought that was a funny Tyler Reddick story since it came up.
That is kind of funny. He's in my queue for tomorrow. I always listen on Thursdays because I always wait till after everything said and done. But all right, Cody, let's save some folks some money and dip down to our mid-tier drivers.
Well, Rod, we are at the track formerly known as Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I'm going to take the driver formerly known as KFB, now just known as KB. That's right. I'm going to get in on a little bit of Kyle Busch action. $8,800. And look, you might be laughing at this, right? Like, have you seen Kyle Busch? Good. That's what I want. Everybody is going to be thinking the same thing. Hopefully that leads to less rostership by him. And then that leads to a better advantage for you, right? Much like Austin Cindric and maybe even a little bit better. He's been really good at this track in particular. Well, throughout his entire career, shocking. He's been good here, but in the next gen era, in the resurfaced era, right? 2022, the March race, the first one here, led 21 laps, ended up with a 33rd place finish after a 4th place start. That hurts. A 20th place finish in 2022 in the fall race. But since then, he's figured it out. March of 23, he finished in 10th after starting 17th. July of 23, he finished 5th after starting 22nd. That is what you're looking for. That's a great day at this price in DFS. Then they came back here last February, leads 28 laps, starts in 3rd, finished in 3rd. Roddy finished in 3rd by about that much, right? Is that crazy 3-wide finish we had. Came back here in the fall, he led another 24 laps, finished in 7th after starting in 15th. And then in the spring, led 13 more laps, starts in 6th, finished in 7th. So what you've seen after the first year was rough, right? 33rd and 20th. But then in the 5 races we've had since 2023 here, all top 10 finishes for him. The last 3 races, he's led laps, 13 in the spring here, and then 24, 28 respectively last year. So Kyle Busch has got some upside to get out front. He really likes this track. He seemed to have figured this track out in particular. Something we didn't really talk about yesterday on the betting episode. It's going to be hot, right? It's now July. It's hot everywhere. We had a triple digits 3 or 4 days last week. It's been hot again this week. But Atlanta, right? That place is going to be baking. This track's already starting to wear out. That's going to change the handling. Handling's been a bit of an issue for him here lately, but he is still one of the greatest drivers we've ever seen in NASCAR in general. And he's still got something in him. Also, they have got this race circled more so than anybody else, right? He is this close, as I just said, to having that win streak still intact for every year over if he would have won this race last year. And looking ahead to the playoffs, how many more chances does Kyle Busch really have to win this season before the playoffs start? Probably not many. The best chance is here at Atlanta. They've got this one circled. I think that it could be a bit of a KB day. This could go either way, right? It could go the way KB's been going lately, or he could do what he's done here over the last 5 races which has looked really good, has scored you a lot of DFS points. And the hope is low roster percentage because everybody's like, ooh, Kyle Busch, and they keep scrolling because they don't want to touch it. Give me some KB this week at 8,800.
Does he get the F back this week? Does he? I mean, how many races does it take for him to get the F back? That's what I mean.
If you win at a drafting track, I don't know that that's getting your F back worthy.
How about a lowercase?
His fans will get some Fs, Rod, from what I've heard. So that would be good. If you listen to Door Bumper Clear, you'll get that reference. But yeah, I don't know that this is earn the F back territory, but we'll be one step closer to reinstating his suspended F.
Like I said, the lowercase F. But all right, my mid-tier driver is the Patron de Atlanta, and that is Daniel Suarez, mi amigo, $7,700 for Daniel Suarez. I understand, right? Especially if you look at what happened in the spring, he finished 33rd in the spring and he crashed out of the race. But this is where you grab these DFS guys by the balls because they're paying attention to what's been going on this season. They're paying attention to all kinds of stuff. They're distracted because they didn't realize and look back at his performance at Atlanta at the EchoPark Speedway beforehand, right? Or else he'd have been $8,000, $9,000 on this particular track. $7,700 is a fantastic discount for a guy that has finished second, first, second, sixth, and fourth in 5 of the last 7 races that he's been on this track. Now, like I said, the outliers in this one, the 33rd and the 29th. 29th, he finished in the spring of 2023, and then the 33rd earlier this season. So they're playing with that ball of yarn. You grab it because it's definitely something worth grabbing. Here's the thing, though, too, and he did this all in the 99 car, obviously, but he did have a 10th place finish in 2019 in the 41, a 15th place finish in the 19 in 2018. So he's no stranger to good finishes in cars that aren't this Trackhouse. How good does that translate for you? Well, in 2024 in the fall, he got you 74.95 fantasy points, which was the most on the slate. Second to Christopher Bell was second with 66.5. In 2024 in the spring, guess what? Topped the charts again, 71.5 fantasy points. He started 23rd that day and then ended up finishing first. How great is that? And then in 2023 in the fall, he gets you 68.25 fantasy points, which was the second highest total on the slate. So in 3 out of 4 races, Daniel Suarez has been in the first 2, not just on the track, but in fantasy points in general. And for me, you want to talk about a guy that just knows this track and is able to do great things on this track. That is Daniel. I like what I said with Ryan Blaney, right? I know I brought these guys up on the betting episode, but I think it carries through in DFS, especially because if you're going to finish very well, then you're going to turn in a good DFS day. And I think that's the important thing to identify. I know we try to mix things up a little bit, but we really want to focus on guys that do well on this track because with all of the craziness that could occur, granted, we don't think there's going to be that many cautions. I don't know, there'll be 15. There might be 6, there might be 7, but I don't think there'll be 15. But, by the same token, there could be. You never know. But these guys have been able to outlast no matter how many cautions have been thrown their way, no matter what kind of craziness has happened. So for me, Daniel Suarez at $7,700, absolute cheat code. He'll probably be popular because people do know how good he is in Atlanta. But at the same time, maybe they're glossing over it because he's $7,700 and they're not really paying attention to what's been going on.
Yeah, I love Daniel Suarez. If you didn't have him in the dock by the time I got there, he would have been my mid-tier guy as well. We both talked about him on the betting episode yesterday. We both found ways to get in on him. He has been really great at this track. We've kind of documented it over the last year or so that when Suarez is good at a track, he typically tends to be good. Now, it's a drafty track, right? And things don't go right. You go back to the spring and it wasn't a good finish. Hopefully that deters some people from playing him and makes him a bit more of a unique play that would help us. From some of the stuff I've listened to this week, people don't seem to be as high on him as I thought everybody would be because we were both high on him and we know how good he's been here. But I haven't heard or seen people be as high as I thought they would be, which great news for us. Hopefully he'll be less rostered, and I think that he's an amazing play this week.
Well, it's because recency bias is really a thing, though, too, because there was like, oh, look at what he did in the spring. I get that. But, that was 1 out of 8, right? In which he did not do well.
Don't take the spring results for everything, right? It's the spring results aren't the gospel, right, Kyle Larson fans?
Laura saying howdy. She
Hi,
just
Laura.
escaped the DMV. Hi, Laura. Ooh, God, the DMV. Why is that place always so treacherous?
And like it's universally, they're all bad. I mean, they're all run by different, states or counties or whoever runs it. Like, but they all suck. They're all just horrible. So that's too bad. The experts suck saying, oh, Jesus Christ, ole, Suarez. Yeah. So, and then Patrick was saying as well, Chase Elliott is also due. We talked about him yesterday on the betting episode. He's actually a solid DFS play this week as well. He checks in at 9,800 near the top of the board, Rod. So another guy that I'll put an endorsement behind.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously I picked him to get out of this stage, so I think he'll do well on this one. And then, of course, Chicago and Sonoma being the next couple of ones. And I think, I'm not giving my bracket away yet, but yeah, definitely a good Elliott day as well. All right, we got low price drivers to get to, but we first got to tell you about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Best Ball Mania happening right now, and all summer long they're giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog also is a great place to play Pick'em. Hey, look, the Austrian Grand Prix happening this weekend for the Formula One guys out there. You know what? I kept telling you guys to take Isaac Hadjar as a points finisher, right? 10th or better. Guess what? Underdog has him at 11th place. 11th and a half the projection for Isaac Hadjar. Please take the better than in this. Isaac Hadjar has been a very welcome surprise for those racing bulls, and he has done well all season long. Been a points machine. And if you're getting him, now you don't have to finish in the points. Now you can just finish one place outside of the points. Yes, please go take Isaac Hadjar. Better than 11.5 to finish. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. That is UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACESGPN. Let's also tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before. They just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and the win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know that we are going to be as well. Been looking at some power trends right now for the Giancarlo Stanton total bases. 1.4 is what Rhythm is predicting on the power trends. The line is at 1.5. So if I am a person who can read all of this properly, I'm going to take the under on this one. And in fact, the stats back that up. 100% hit rate on the under. His average total bases is a half a total base for Giancarlo Stanton of the Yankees taking on the Reds. So make sure you go down there and pick that up too on Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right. So, I wish I followed baseball better. I really do. I have no clue about baseball anymore.
Yeah, I enjoy baseball. It's a very long season, so it's hard to keep up with 162 games a year.
It's hard to keep up with 30 some odd races spread over 9 different months, but
it's not. I think we do a pretty good job keeping up with it, actually.
I think so too. However, 162 games definitely. Well, the pitch clock has made things faster, so I like that.
It has. Yes, went to a game last year at Kauffman Stadium down in Kansas City, and that, like, for going to games in person, which is baseball games in person, there's almost nothing that beats that. Races do for sure, but baseball games are great things to go to. But yeah, the pitch clock helped that out a ton because it just makes it not drag on so much, which is great. TK saying Trackhouse was bad car-wise last week, so may have lowered expectations for this week. That's the attitude we hope to see, because it doesn't really matter. Like, the only time that a bad car is going to come into the picture this week is I don't remember which one Star is in, but really that's the only one. Who do we have this week? We've got Star, Yaley, So Star, Yaley, and McLeod.
Stars in the
right?
66.
So yeah, the 66, the 44, the 78. Although the 78 can maybe hang a little bit, those cars will be just worse. Once they get in the draft, though, they could make something happen if they were probably better drivers. But a guy like Cody Ware could easily run up front with the big boys this week, even in that 51 car. So equipment doesn't matter as much for almost the entire field this week. And it's not shocking to see guys have good runs. It's not shocking, Rod, to see Rick Ware cars run well. And I think a Rick Ware car is going to run well this week. That's right. We're playing Corey LaJoie. He's in the field. I'm going to talk about him as much as I possibly can. He is my cheap driver for the week, Rod. He is $5,500. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful price. But you look at what he's capable of doing, and I think a lot of people are going to click on him, and really it's been disappointing this year, right? I will completely agree with you there. It's not been great. Daytona 500, you get excited. It's great. It's exciting. He did lead 10 laps, by the way, running up to my point of being able to run up front, being able to run good in the Rick Ware stuff. He could do it. 4 fastest laps in that one. But he finished in 22nd. Actually qualified 12th. But granted, that was the duels, I guess, that qualifies you there. But then at Atlanta, it was rough, right? He started in 35th, which is what you want to see, but finished 38th. So didn't lose any points, 1.4, fine. And then Bristol, who cares? It was Bristol, right? But what Corey LaJoie is capable of here at Atlanta, that is what we're looking for. Talked about this yesterday, but he's been extremely good on this track, Rod. And of course, the page wants to reload as soon as I click on it. But outside of the 38th place finish here in the spring and a 31st place finish here in 2023, it's been all really good runs for Corey LaJoie. You go back to March of 2022, starts in 33rd, finishes 5th at the end of the day. That's a hell of a lot of points there. Then in 2022, he starts 30th. He is leading with 2 laps to go. Ends up in 21st, so that hurt a little bit, but he did lead 19 laps, swapping the lead back and forth with Chase Elliott there before getting shoved into the wall and having a bad result. But he was in the mix all day and had a chance to win that race at the end of the day. You like to see that. You come back in March of 23, starts in 31st. None of these are good starts, by the way. His best career start here at Atlanta in this configuration is 28. So not good starts. He's going to start farther back probably. That's what we want to see. That's great. But March of 23, starts 31st, finishes in 4th place. Rough day in 23, July race where he finishes in 31st. But you come back in February, starts 32nd, finishes 13th. I will take that all day long for a guy at the price of $5,500. And then came back here in the fall last year as well. 25th place start, 15th place finish. Good runs. It was a rough day in the spring, of course. But he got caught up in a wreck, and there's just not much you can do about that. So Corey LaJoie, a guy that I'm going to continue to be on, hopefully. As people will click on the name, they'll think, part-time. They'll think, Rick Ware. They won't play him. And then when he's in the mix at the end of the day to cash our car lift, Rod, everybody's going to be like, Cody tried to tell us. And here I am, just spreading the good news about our Lord and Savior, Corey LaJoie.
You know, he's been watching races for the last 5 weeks on Prime, and he's definitely, I know he's itching to get back behind.
You could say he's primed and ready to go, Rod.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. That's it for this week. I'm just kidding. No.
I mean, you can't really get any better than that, can you? So we might as well just end it here.
Mic drop. No, okay. Yeah, no, this is the track. This is the type of situation where you use a Corey LaJoie and D2.
D2's listening, Rod. Says he hears me. Could be the race for LaJoie. This could be the career-changing race we've been waiting for, Rod.
Indeed. So you talk about Ware and you talk about Cody Ware. How about Rick Ware vehicles? Let's talk about the former occupant of the 51 Rick Ware Ford, and that is Justin Haley. He is going to be my low price driver. I cannot believe, again, $5,600 rather for Justin Haley. The thing is this, right? I get it. In the spring, he finished 24th, did not get you a great day. He got you 19.05 points, the 24th best point total on the day. But he was still better than guys like Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry, Eric Jones, Alex Bowman, William Byron, even Cody Ware in that one, Noah Gragson, Brad Keselowski. So he still scored you more points than those guys who I guarantee you were much higher priced than him. However, if you look at his average finish here, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race, Justin Haley in the next gen era has the 10th best average finish in the field. 14.9 is his average finish, ahead of guys like Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, the aforementioned Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick even, right? Obviously, very, very solid on this track with finishes of 11, 7, 22, 8, 20, 12, 24. I'll tell you that the 20th place and the 12th place were both in the 51 car, right? Where he got you 50.7 points in 2024 in the fall, and then 2024 in the spring, he got you the 16th most fantasy points on the day, 37.15. However, I'll still take 37 points on an almost $6,000 budget. And then in 2023 in the fall, he got you 46.8 fantasy points, which is the 10th most in the field. So, you know, something about this track for Justin Haley, he's not going to get you maybe a top 10 finish. He's not going to lead you any laps for that matter. But the place differential alone, well, he's only one lap in his entire career on this track, but he might. You're absolutely right. He could, maybe not, but he could. But yeah, to me, his average start in his career, 24.2, average finish, 18.1. I mean, he's going to be one of those guys where people are either going to know or they won't, right? And IKYK, FIYKY, whatever. If you know, you know, and you guys know because you listen to this show that Justin Haley would be a good DFS play this week.
And that's how the boomers figure out the acronyms there, friends. If okay, yeah. Anyways, no, I love this play. Talked about Haley yesterday on the betting episode. He's been really good at this track in particular. He's a good drafting track racer. Was really good in the Xfinity Series. We talked about kind of that period he had of dominance over there in the Kaulig equipment, and he's done this in the Rick Ware car, in the Spire car, in the Kaulig car. Like, it's been all different cars he's come here in, and he's been pretty successful. Stock is super low, as TK points out, right? Spire's had the speed, but he's not been great. But that doesn't matter as much this week in the draft. That's right. So I think, you know, looking at this, we don't intend to come into this show and build you the lineup that you should play on Sunday, because we just don't have all the information. We're specifically, you know, pointing out guys in each tier that we like to build off of. But really, if you look at this, I think we've got a pretty decent build. This is one that I kind of like. You got two guys that you expect to start out front and lead laps. That's Ryan Blaney and Austin Cindric, right? Those are your big horses. Kyle Busch, a bit of a sleeper pick, maybe starts mid-pack. He can get up there, have a decent finish for you. Then Suarez, I mean, we know how good he could be. He's got a high upside play, right? Again, maybe doesn't start the greatest, but gets up there at the end of the day. Maybe it's a 3-wide finish with Suarez, Busch, and Blaney. We've seen that before, right? They all ended up in this lineup. But then LaJoie, Haley, your cheaper guys, starting farther back, ideally, and getting in those place differentials, having a good day at the end. I don't hate how this lineup actually turned out. So, yeah, I think that, again, not knowing the starting positions, if all ends up as you would expect it to, could be a great place. And I think that these are all guys worth highlighting and can be played in many different ways in this race also.
Yeah. And then just one last thing on Haley too. We went back a little bit. I go back a little bit farther, like you were talking about, even in the Kaulig days, right? Driving that 31, started 22nd in the spring of 2022, finished 11th, started 24th in the fall of 2022, finished 7th. So yeah, nice solid runs. That's how you want it.
Yeah, he's had really good runs here, and he's a great drafting track driver. You know, he's got a win at Daytona in the Cup Series, Rod. Mm-hmm. I mean, that really had nothing to do with actual racing, but hey, win's a win. I
was going to say, you put yourself in the right place at the right time.
That's right. Hey,
the checkered
trophy is the same, and check pays is the same as well.
Indeed. What, did it clear? I'm sure it cleared.
I was going to guess. We probably would have heard if it didn't clear.
I would think so too. I would say get out your pen and paper. It's time to go over our picks, but Cody already did. But if you would like one more recap, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS picks for the Quaker State 400.
Get out your whiteboard. Let's go over this.
Get out your whiteboard. Oh, that's right. Get out your whiteboard. It is now time for this. All right. Cody started you off with Austin Cindric at $10,200 as his high price driver. I said Ryan Blaney at the top of the charts. $11,000 is my high price driver. Cody gave you Kyle Busch at $8,800 as his mid-tier driver. I said Daniel Suarez, $7,700 was mine. Cody gave you Corey LaJoy at $5,500 as his low-price driver. And I gave you Justin Haley at $5,600 as my low-price driver. There it is, folks. DFS lineups for this race. Love it, Cody. Like I said, I really like this lineup. I may use this in a couple of tournaments.
Yeah, I have already entered it into a couple of them, Rod. So,
beautiful.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good one. Again, we'll see on starting spots and all that, but yeah, good places to start and build from for sure.
Yeah. Normally normally on a super speedway ish, we give you like the wheel, but I think this is because it's a super speedway, but it's a 1.5 mile super speedway, and it's like there are people that do better on this track, even though it's a super speedway.
Yeah, and we're still learning, right? This is still new. We're 7 races and this is the 8th race, but we're still learning, and I think the track's changing. I think the drivers are figuring things out, how this is going to go, and I think that it is less super speedway-ish than Daytona and Talladega. I think that we've leaned more this time into Atlanta stats than before, where it was all the super speedways combined, and that shift is beginning to happen. We'll see if it continues down that path, right? Or maybe this is a complete, utter chaos race and David Starr wins and we're all like, wow, it is a true super speedway. Probably not going to happen, but yeah, you never know.
Indeed. All right. Well, then, as we said at the top of the show, we are going to come back with Trucks and Xfinity tomorrow because we did not get them today or in enough time. So be on the lookout for that one tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back tomorrow, Rod. The Xfinity Series, of course, at Atlanta as well, EchoPark Speedway. But the trucks are going to be out at Lime Rock on the road course, so be a little something different to talk about. We'll blend those two together tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Make sure you get your bracket challenge contest done. Screenshot that. Go over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest. That's the updated link. We had issues with the other link, but sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest. That's where you can enter your bracket into our bracket challenge. $200 gift card, $100 gift card, $50 gift card. So you can get plenty of cool stuff over in the merch store with that. So make sure you get those entered. And again, reminder, Saturday night is this race. Do not forget about that. All right, Rod. We'll see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all of my stuff over there. Currently in the process of previewing all 32 NFL teams, giving out my 3 favorite bets for each one. So I think I'm in the D's right now with Dallas and Denver came out today, I think it was. So, yeah, we're continuing to roll through those. So enjoy that along with tons of other stuff. See you guys tomorrow.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's in between media. Make sure you check out the Back Road tomorrow night. Seth Elliott and I will be breaking down Hot Atlanta and having some fun doing that. And, yeah. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some Trucks and Xfinity. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, you have yourself a great day. We love you. Let's go racing and let it ride.